जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यमुना तीरो वनचारी, यमुना तीरो वनचारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यमुना तीरो वनचारी, यमुना तीरो वनचारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। वृंदावन चंद्र राधा, वृंदावन चंद्र राधे, राधा कुंज बिहारी, राधा कुंज बिहारी राधे। जय राधे जय राधे, जय श्री राधे गीताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल। हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल, जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद, जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरु। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभात की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागजाता सहगना रघुनाथामितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशितारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं भङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। Hare Krishna. So welcome all for this Friday's Bhagavad Gita class. So we've been discussing Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 and we are doing an overview of chapter 5. So far we have discussed stay in the world. So Arjuna is actually again confused and he's asking which is better, Krishna, renunciation or doing karma? And Krishna is saying both are good, but Nishkam karma is much better. Because, and we, as we have talked before in the 3rd and 4th chapter as well, now this chapter is called as Karma Sannyasa Yoga, right? Which means basically performing actions and getting sannyas or liberation, right? So we are talking about sannyas in karma, not sannyas of karma. Sannyas means renunciation. Krishna is not talking about renouncing your work. Krishna is talking about working and then obtaining renunciation in that or obtaining sannyas in that, right? Like that. So it is not the same. Sannyas in karma means you're working, but your consciousness is that I do not belong to this. This is not mine. Whereas for renunciation of work means you give up your activity totally. That is called as sannyas of karma, right? Like that. That's what Krishna is explaining. Now, in the last section, we talked about how also Krishna spoke about the difference between sannyas, Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. So as we spoke, Krishna is not talking about two different paths. Krishna is not talking that Sankhya Yoga is different and Karma Yoga is different. So he's saying they are the rungs of the same ladder. You are going to the same goal, they are in the same path. Sankhya Yoga means basically trying to find out the root of a tree. So if you have to find the root of a tree, what do? You dig here and there, you find out, you analyze, and you finally find the root of the tree. Now, after you find the root of the tree, what do you do? That is what is Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. What do? You water the root. Similarly, when we find out, Sankhya Yoga is analytically analyzing. Oh, okay. What are these 24 elements which are we going to speak today? What are these different elements? Who am I? Who is God? And finally coming to the conclusion, we are the soul and Krishna is God. And we have got a relationship with him. And we are actually the servant of Krishna. So that conclusion is Sankhya Yoga. But then just concluding that doesn't help. You'll have to go one step further. And what is that? You have to perform bhakti. You have to perform service of Krishna. Then only you will be able to progress. That is Bhakti Yoga. So Sankhya Yoga leads you to a certain extent. And then actually you go to the next level, which is the Bhakti Yoga. Right? So we've seen so far. Now, okay, this is talking about the same thing. So Sankhya Yoga means analytical study of material body and soul, analysis of temporary world, and such knowledge leads one to find Krishna, root of everything. Nishkam Karma Yoga means basically I am not this body, I am a soul, I am a part and parcel of Krishna, and I want to serve him, right? So I work in a detached spirit. We talked about this. Yeah, shifting your attitude from doership to divine. Basically, we should not think I am doing this, I am doing this. That should be transferred to divine. Krishna is doing everything and we are just puppets like that. Okay, we talked about this. Okay, now we're going to go to the next section, which is 5.7 to 16. Now, in this section, what has been discussed is one who is in the consciousness of Nishkam Karma Yoga, how does he look like? What exactly is his consciousness, right? Now, Krishna is going to elaborately talk about Nishkam Karma Yoga and what is the difference or contrast with the Sankhya Yogi or somebody who is on Jnana Yogi or a Sankhya Yogi, a different path, right? Like that. Now, one who understands, one who's got the knowledge, one who is in knowledge means what? One who understands that this material world is all made up of material elements, right? This material world is all made up of material elements and I have got nothing to do with it. I am incompatible with the material world. And then basically based on this knowledge, this person acts. For what? For purification, for actually going back to where we came from. That is what this section is going to focus on, right? So now you have to understand that this material world is full of material things, right? Other than the living entities, right? So, but the soul comes here and it actually is illusioned that it thinks, oh, I'm actually belong to this world. That's where the illusion is. That is what exactly Krishna is going to focus on. Now, in this shloka, 7th shloka, Krishna says, Yoga Yukto Vijitatma, Vijitatma, Jitendriya, Sarvabhutatma Bhutatma, Kurvannapina Lipyate. This Krishna is now talking about 3 types of yogis. Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma. Vishuddhatma means purified intelligence. One whose intelligence is purified. One whose intelligence is purified means like this person in this Brahmana in this picture. Now this is taken from the shloka Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmani Kabihastine Shunicheva Sapake Cha Pandita Savadarshini. This is 5.19. So here you can see the intelligence of this person is very clear. Purified intelligence. Purified intelligence means the intelligence does not have a trace of Kama, Krodha, Mada, Moha, Matsar. He's not got any of this. And he clearly sees the difference between a dead body and a living body that Krishna is presenting in the heart of all the animals. That is his vision. That's why it's called as purified intelligence. Then he is Vijitatma. Vijitatma means he is able to, he is self-controlled. It doesn't waver. If some, what do you call, allurements come in his life, he doesn't waver from here and there. That's how he's self-controlled. And then last is Jitendriya. Indriya means senses. He is Jitendriya. Jitendriya means he's even conquered the senses. So primarily, he's conquered his mind, intelligence, and ego. Mind, intelligence, and senses. That's how this goes. Yoga Yukta Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma Jitendriya, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, Kurvannapina Lipyate. Right? So such a person is a liberated person. He never get entangled in anything at all. Right? For one to be not entangled, our intelligence should be very pure. Very pure means we should be able to make decisions based upon the spiritual intelligence, not based on the material intelligence. What is good for my body? The purified intelligence means what is good for my long-term goal. So, if you are given a choice of reading Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita and watching a movie, what does your intelligence tell you? What does the intelligence say? No. It's been a long time I watched a movie. How many times should I read Bhagavad Gita? What is this Bhagavad Gita? I should not read this. That is a contaminated intelligence. But one who focuses on Bhagavad Gita, one who focuses, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekehe kuranandana, means he is focused on the goal. I want to get liberated from this world. Krishna Prabhupada said, you have given millions and millions and millions of lifetime for yourself. For yourself means for the body, for trying to enjoy. Give only one life for Krishna, and then you'll go back to spiritual world. That is called as purified intelligence, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. One single pointed attention towards the goal, which is obtaining Krishna Prem, which is purifying our heart. That is called purified intelligence. Self-control means doesn't waver from here and there. Vijitatma means इधर उधर बिल्कुल भटकता नहीं, मन फोकस होना चाहिए. If you go on YouTube for a devotional video, then our mind distracts here and there. Arey, ye bhi to tha. Acha, ye movie tha. This, that. We get distracted and we have lost 1 hour, right? So the self-controlled person never wavers here and there. He is totally focused, and he's conquered the senses. Means like the tortoise. We talked about the tortoise earlier, right? The tortoise uses the senses only when it is required. When there is a danger, it withdraws the senses or the body, hands and legs. Similarly, a devotee who is Jitendriya, it doesn't utilize the senses for gratification. He uses the senses only for Krishna service, and when they're not required, he withdraws. Withdraws means he doesn't work with them, right? He doesn't work with them. That's how a person is. Now, because he is engaging all the senses in Krishna's service, right? And he's in contact with Krishna, his senses and everything is getting purified. सब कुछ purify हो रहा, right? योग को विशुद्धात्मा विजितात्मा इत्यंतरे सर्वभूतात्मा भूतात्मा कुर्वन् अपि न लिप्यते. That's why he doesn't get any of the entanglement. कोई reaction नहीं मिलता उसको, because he's totally engaged in Krishna service. Now, actually, to be honest, it is not very easy to be dear to everyone. And like many people have tried. Many politicians are trying nowadays. Mahatma Gandhi is a good example. Mahatma Gandhi actually gave his entire life. He gave his job, he gave his life, right? But what did he get? One of our Indians actually killed him. And many are against him. And although people are worshipping him, they are putting his putlas and here and there. But are they really following him? Hardly anybody who's following him, right? So actually, what is the point? He fought for independence, but do we have the independence? Our real independence is relying on Krishna. Right? Anyway, so point here is no one can be. It's very difficult to become dear to everybody. Right? Many politicians have tried it. Right? So when do we say that somebody can be dear to Krishna or dear to people? Right? When he has these three qualities: Vishuddhatma, Vijetatma, Jitendriya. Only a person who is purely situated on his consciousness, he is very dear to the everybody, right? Titikshava karunika suhrada sarvabhutana majata satrava santava sadhava sadhu bhushana. A sadhu is one who has got titikshava, tolerance. Titikshava karunika, he is compassionate. Suhradam, he is the friend of all. Titikshava karunika suhradam sarvabhutanam ajata shatrava, he doesn't have an enemy. He doesn't consider anybody his enemy. That is the quality of a saintly person. Tolerant, compassionate, he doesn't have an enemy, and he is a friend for all. Friend means suhrad. In Sanskrit, there are different words for a friend. An official friend is called as mitra, right? Then a little closer friend is called as bandhu, right? And then the closest, like we say in Hindi, right? What do you say? Basically, one who can give anything for you, one who can do anything for you, right? He is called as suhrud. Suhrud means basically he is your real well-wisher. तुम्हारे लिए कुछ भी करने के लिए तैयार, मर मिटने के लिए तैयार. That is called as suhrud. There are different words for the same friend. English में एक ही word है, संस्कृत में 5 हैं. मुझे 3 ही याद आ रहे हैं, but 5 है उसमें, right? Mitra, bandhu, suhrad, like that. So
Sakha.
Sakha, correct. Sakha, Mitra, Bandhu, and Suhrat. And there's one more actually, but yeah, these are the 4 which I know. But different levels. One means a formal friend, one means an informal friend, one means a close friend, one means a really well-wisher, like that. So now Krishna is saying, if you want to become dear to everyone, you have to have these qualities. What are those? Vishuddhatma, intelligence is purified. Vijitatma, mind is purified. Jitendriya, senses are purified. Now, these are the ornaments of a devotee. What? Titikshava karunika suhradam sarvabhutana majata shatrava. These are the ornaments of a devotee. A devotee is not ornamented by jewels like gold and diamond and all. He is ornamented by qualities. He should be compassionate, he should be tolerant, he should be friend, and he should be suhradam sarvabhutanam ajat. He should not have any enemy. You should not consider anybody as your enemy. Like Yudhishthir Maharaj, he did not have an enemy. That's why he was called Ajata Shatru. Now you might say, "Arey, aise kaise? Duryodhana was his enemy." No, he did not consider Duryodhana as an enemy. Duryodhana considered him as an enemy. But उसको कभी नहीं लगा युधिष्ठिर को कि ये मेरा दुश्मन है. No. Even to the last point, he was saying कि छोड़ दे, चले जाते हैं. We'll go away. But no, he never considered enemy as an enemy. Right? So that is the quality of a devotee who can be dear to everyone. Right? He never ever even thought ill about him. Like after the attempted disrobing of Draupadi, when they went to the jungle, every day the Pandavas would curse Yudhishthir. तुम्हारे कारण हुआ सब, तुमने सबको दांव पे लगाया, द्रौपदी को पे लगाया, तुमको शर्म नहीं आती? They will start cursing every morning. They will start cursing it, and then somehow he will tolerate and pacify them. And then Draupadi will start. तुम्हारे कारण हमारा हावर, हम लोग राजा लोग हैं और जंगल में ऐसे कहीं भी सो रहे हैं, कहीं कुछ भी खा रहे हैं. And then he'll pacify her as well. And then he'll finish his day. Again morning will come and Arjun, Bhima will start cursing him. तुम्हारे कारण हुआ है. Because it's a major thing, right? I mean, the good thing was Pandavas that although they were fighting with each other, they never ever, they were always bonded together. कभी भी नहीं छोड़ा. अर्जुन ने नहीं बोला कि नहीं मैं जा रहा हूँ छोड़ के. No, he never. Right? They always listened to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Although they cursed him, they always listened to him. Right? Like that. So that is the sign of a great devotee. He's tolerant. कितना tolerate करेगा ना? छोटा भाई, तुम्हारी बीवी तुमको गाली दे रही है, right? And you're tolerating. He's tolerant, very much tolerant. Also, you can look at Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was so tolerant. He was Narasimha. Hiranyakashipu was trying to kill him, but he never ever, raised his voice. कि क्या कर रहे हो? No, never. He just tolerated. That's the quality of a devotee. Now let's look at the next 8 and 9. Now this is going to talk about who is a doer and who is not doer. Although we are doing, we are not the doers. Having said that the Karma Yoga is not the doer of actions, yet does actions. Krishna will now explain such yogi for the sake of, which means we are doing the action, but actually we are not the doers. That is the theme here. Right? What does it mean? Let's try to understand this. So here you can see that the characteristic of a self-realized soul is being explained. Right? Now soul is active in the body, all right, and the body is always dead. Body is always dead. As long as the soul is there, the body is there. नहीं तो body में कुछ दम नहीं है. It will not survive at all. Body बिल्कुल survive नहीं करेगा. Right? So actually body dead है. Soul is the only thing which is alive. Right? We have to understand this. Now, the material world, this is what I was talking earlier, we should be conscious of the fact that this entire material world is made up of 24 elements. And we're going to discuss what these 24 elements are. Right? Now, now analyzing these 24 elements is what is called a Sankhya. Right? There are 24 elements, and we analyze, am I this earth, am I water, am I air, am I this, am I that, and then come in, I'm none of them, I am a soul. That is called a Sankhya. Right? So now there are 24 elements. Let's start with one of them. There are 5 elements by which this body is made up of. Bhumi, Lapo, Nar, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha. So it is earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the 5 elements. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. This is सब कुछ body में. These are the 5 elements. It's called as the 5 gross elements. Then there are 3 subtle elements. Bhumi, Rapo, Nal, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha. Kham, Mano, Buddhi means mind, intelligence, ego. So there's total 8 now. Right? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. ये 8 elements हो गए. Right? Now, actually, there are 2 things here. Para and apara. Para means matter. Apara means soul. That is how the Bhagavad Gita defines. Para means matter. Apara means soul. Right? Now, soul actually is very, very tiny. Actually, soul is eternal. Soul is spiritual. But because it's very tiny, it is under the control, it gets under the control of matter. Because matter is huge. The external energy of the Lord, matter, is very, very powerful. That's why it is able to control the soul, the jiva, and the jiva gets controlled by the matter. That is understanding. Right? So by the influence of the matter, now this body is matter, and the soul is sitting in the heart, and the soul is thinking, I am this body. That is the influence of the matter. When the soul thinks I am this body, it is influenced by matter, and that's why it is thinking I am the body. right? Like that. But by self-realization, one can understand deeper and deeper that I'm not this body. And that's when you come to the understanding of I'm a soul. So 8 elements so far. Then there are 5 more elements which are called as the Jnanendriyas. So which are the Jnanendriyas? Eyes, nose, tongue, right? Ears, and touch, right? So these are the 5 Jnanendriyas. Then there are 5 Karmendriyas. What are the Karmendriyas? Hands, legs, voice, and anus and genital, right? So these are the 5 Karmendriyas. So 5 plus 5, 10, and 5 gross elements, 15, and 3 subtle elements. Total 18 so far. Now there are 5 Uttan Matras, or also called as sense objects, which means, for example, my eyes see a form. So I've got a whiteboard here. I can see the form of the whiteboard. I see a laptop here. I can see the form of the laptop. That's how. So this form is a sense object or a tanmatra. Similarly, my ears hear sound. Sound is a tanmatra. The sound is coming from some direction and I can hear. So that object is a sense object. Similarly, I can smell. I can smell something nice. I can smell something really dirty. That is the sense object. Similarly, I can touch something. That is another sense object. And the final is I can taste something. Right? There are 5 sense objects which are called as tan matras. Right? So 18 plus 5, 23. Right? Now, before we go to the 24th element, let's try to understand the primary states which we are generally in. Right? There are 3 primary states: Jagruti, Swapna, and Sushupti. Jagruti means right now what state we are. I'm assuming all of you are awake. So whatever we are is Jagruti. Jagruti means we are conscious, we are able to hear, we are able to talk. That is Jagruti. Swapna means we have gone to bed, sleep, and then our mind is active. Entire body is sleeping, right? Body, senses, the body organs, everybody is sleeping. Only the mind is active. And the mind is chewing, mind is thinking, oh, what happened in the day? And it will create a form. It will create another form. Like Prabhupada says in one of the purports I was reading today, that in the sleep, in the dream, sometimes you might see that your head is cut. Your head is cut, and you are seeing that the head is cut. Right? Like one time, one teacher, he wanted to scare the children. This is in the Bhagavatam. This is in 3rd canto. So Prabhupada says in the school, the teacher told to the child, if you make any naughty things or if you become naughty, I'll cut your head and I will, keep it here for you to see. As I bola. And then the child was thinking, no, sir, I kuch nahi karunga. Now you cannot do this. If you cut the head of a child or anybody, obviously you're not able to see that because you will not be alive to see that. Which means it's an illusion. Similarly, when we are dreaming, it's an illusion. We are thinking, oh, the tiger is after me. And, many times you get this dream. I was actually about to catch a bus and I missed the bus. I was about to catch a train, I missed the train. Or you are, besides a very famous Bollywood actress or a Bollywood actor, taking a photo. So rarely we get spiritual dreams. We get always material dreams because that's our consciousness, right? So you get dreams like that. That is when the mind is awake. Mind is trying to do multiple things and it is thinking about some things. Right? That's called Swapna. And the 3rd stage is called Sushupti. Sushupti means you are in deep sleep. Now even the mind is gone to sleep. Mind is also not active. It is also gone to bed. So now the mind is sleeping, the senses are sleeping, the body is sleeping. So who will wake this person? That is the super soul. The super soul wakes up the person. Ujja. Yeah, so we hear a sound or it's time for us to wake up. That's how the super soul actually wakes that person up. Right? That's called the 3rd stage, which is Sushupti. Now you have to tell me which of these 3 states is good for us. Which of these 3 states we should be in for us to progress in spiritual practice. Anybody? Actually, the answer is in one of the names of one of the participants. That's a hint.
Turiya.
Yes. Turiya has given the answer. Turiya. Yes. So there is another state called as Turiya, which is the fourth state. And what is that? Can anybody explain? Turiya, can you explain what is it? What does the name mean? तुमचं नाव म्हणजे काय?
Religious state of mind.
Okay, very good. Very good. Very, very, very close. So Turiya basically means you are in a consciousness which is your original consciousness when you are in the spiritual world, which means you are able to analyze, oh, I'm this body. Oh, my wife is actually another soul. She's actually not my wife. She is part and parcel of Krishna. Oh, this tiger is also part and parcel of Krishna. This small insect I'm seeing is also part and parcel of Krishna. You are basically liberated. You are in a liberated state. Your consciousness is very, very clear. Crystal clear. कोई गंदगी नहीं है. No kama, krodha, mada, moha, matsar, everything is absent. Right? And your consciousness is 100% pure. That is called Turiya state. Basically, the state where we were in the spiritual world. That's called Turiya. That is what we should be aiming at. Now, you might say Turiya stage is, then how can it be in this material world? Yes, it is possible to be in that state in material world. Srila Prabhupada was in this material world, but he was in Turiya state all the time. He was continuously in Turiya state because he never ever actually, had showed any contaminations of this material world. That is called as Turiya state. Right? So that's what we should be aiming at. Now, in the Swapna state, some people actually, how do you know the mind is awake? Because many people actually, you would have seen this, many people talk in their dream. बराबर करते हैं. Many people walk in their dream. You seen that? One of my cousins used to do that. He would wake up in the night and start walking out of the door. He'll open the door, he'll go out of the door, take a walk, and come back and sleep. And then when somebody told you, okay, why did you go outside in the night? When? I did not go in outside. They will not remember. Because the mind is awake, the body is asleep, and the mind is activating the body to do certain things. And now I don't know how they don't remember, but that's how it is. They are not able to remember. They woke up, and it's like a dream state. They're in a dream. They're walking somewhere, or they're doing something. They walk out of the door, they go out, and they come back, and then they go to sleep. So it's like a dream. They are actually walking in the dream. That basically state is the mind is awake, but the body was also sleeping, but the mind woke up the body, and it asked it to actually. So what is happening here is, to be honest, now there are two states here, the Jagrati state and the Swapna state. So the mind is in the actually Swapna state. Swapna state may mind. So the mind actually awakes the body and it goes into Swapna state. The mind has not gone into the Jagrati state. That's why they don't remember it. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes or no? There are two states. Jagrati matlab sab kuch awake. Mind be awake, senses be awake, you are awake. Swapna means the body is sleeping, the mind is awake. But in this particular case, when the person is walking in the dream, his mind is awake. His mind is in the Swapna state. And body is to pura so gaya hai. So mind wakes up the body and says ki uth ja. And the mind activates the body to be in the Swapna state. So the body is also thinking I am in Swapna. The mind is also thinking, and that's why they are walking. And that's why they come back and sleep, and that's why they don't remember, because many times we don't remember our dreams. Right? For another example I can give. So for example, you are sleeping on the bed, on a cot, and you feel in the sleep that you might, fall down, right? Or you feel that the tiger is coming in the dream and it's going to catch you. Actually, there's no tiger, but when you wake up, you see you are perspiring. You are afraid. Because actually you were in the dream, right? The mind was in the dream, and the mind activated the body in the dream. Like that. I hope I was clear. So that's how it is. So now 23 elements we're talking about. Now the 24th element is what is called as the Pradhana. Now you said, what is Pradhana? Pradhana is basically a lump of matter which was created by Karnodakshay Vishnu before the creation. So there is a big gola, which is the material world, and Narayan, Shankarshan basically, he expanded himself in many forms, and one of the forms is Vishnu. This Vishnu is the Karanodakshay Vishnu who is sleeping in that Gola. It's called as the Karan ocean. And he's sleeping there, and from his body pores, multiple universes are creating. But when the universes are created, they are in a very raw form. वो उसका कुछ बना नहीं है अब तक. For example, a mother actually goes in the kitchen and she kneads a dough. आटा ये करते हैं. What do you call? आटा बनाने के लिए जो गोंदते हैं, नीड करते हैं, वो बनाती है. अभी तक रोटी नहीं बनी है. Now you are not created chapati yet, but you are kneading the dough, and the dough is ready now. She's kept it for 5 minutes for it to soak. That is the state called as pradhana. Means the material elements before it were created is called pradhana. So the Lord glanced and he created multiple lumps of universes. That is pradhana. And then again, when he glances at those lumps, then the actual creation happens. The 33 elements are created, and then he goes into every universe as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and he sleeps there. He sleeps there for millions of years, and all the living entities are in his body. And then after that, he again looks, and that's when Brahma wakes up. So this creation, now Bible and Quran only talks about कि God said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and there was a creation. मतलब क्या? This is how we were created. ऐसा बोलते हैं. But Bhagavatam, if you look at 2nd chapter and 3rd chapter, detailed analysis of creation. कैसे बना सब कुछ? ये हाथ कहाँ से है, आँख कहाँ से है? Where did the fire come from? Where did the ether come from? Everything is given. Who are the Dig Devtas? Who are the demigods for controlling the senses? Everything is given. सब कुछ दिया हुआ है. That actually shows the capability of this particular Bhagavatam, right? Like that. So then, those are the 24 elements. So basically, till now you have seen there is no soul at all. Only matter. सब कुछ matter पे चल रहा है यहाँ पे. And when the living entity is in this body, in this world, it is thinking, अरे ये तो सब matter ही है. But it doesn't realize because it's in the influence of this matter, and that's why it is thinking कि सब कुछ I am part of this. But the soul is nothing to do with the matter. The soul is nothing to do with the material world. That is how we understand. This is Sankhya Yoga, right? Now, what exactly is happening is the soul is not doing anything. Now, this is where Krishna is leading us to the doer. In the next section, Krishna is going to talk about who are the 3 doers. So he is leading to that. He is saying the senses are acting or interacting with the sense object. So, मेरा आँख जो है ये लैपटॉप के स्क्रीन को देख रहा है. सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट, सेंसेस, ये इंटरेक्शन हो रहा है. उसका और आत्मा का कुछ रिलेशन नहीं है. The soul is not doing anything at all, right? Soul is only giving energy to the body. Soul is giving only energy to the body, right? And the person is thinking, I am doing this. Krishna, in one of the slokas, Krishna says, Prakriti krimanani gune karmani bhasha ahankar vimbadatma kartaham iti mannati. A person who is bewildered, he thinks, मैं कर रहा हूँ सब कुछ, मेरे कारण हो रहा है. Actually, the person is not doing anything at all. The 3 modes are acting on the person, and he is just following what the modes are saying. That's all, right? Like when you eat food, right? When you eat food, you're not aware कि अंदर क्या हो रहा है. There are many enzymes which are secreted from the mouth, and the food goes to the large intestine, and then the digestive process starts. Then different enzymes are produced, acids produced होता है, and then they crush the food, and they digest the food, and then blood is created. ऐसा बहुत कुछ process हो रहा है. But are we aware क्या हो रहा है? No, हमें पता भी नहीं क्या चल रहा है. हम लोग सिर्फ खाना खाते हैं, बाकी सब अंदर के अंदर हो रहा है. But there are so much things which are there. Even while eating the food, the brain says, okay, only take a small bite. Don't take a big bite. Take roti now, take sabzi now, fold your hands, put it in the mouth. ये सब कुछ brain बता रहा है. But are we consciously understanding? नहीं, हमें पता नहीं चल रहा. हम लोग ऐसे ही naturally खा रहे हैं. Similarly, when a person is doing these activities, assuming is the body, he is doing all these activities. But actually, में वो कुछ नहीं कर रहा. Right? The soul is just giving the energy and the body is performing. That's all. Right? So the actions of the mind and intelligence are very complex. बहुत complex है समझना है. हमारे लिए इतना समझना ही बहुत complex है. So then what to think about the entire universe, which is much more complex than what we know. Right? Like that. So that is the understanding. So this sloka I was talking about is that although we are eating, although we are walking, although we are sleeping, although we are talking, सब कुछ कर रहे हैं. कौन कर रहा है? आत्मा नहीं कर रहा है. The body is doing it. The sense objects are interacting with the senses. That's it. That's why this shloka is saying that when the living entity is doing all these things, he is not the one who is doing it, is what is saying. Okay? Like, for example, Prahlad Maharaj was constantly thinking of Krishna. So it is stated in the Bhagavatam that when he was thinking of Krishna, all his bodily activities apna apna ho raha tha. Like एक छोटा बच्चा होता है, only half a year, 6 months old. Now the child doesn't know how he is being fed, how he is doing shishi shushu, diaper को कौन change कर रहा है, उसको कुछ पता नहीं है, but हो रहा है सब कुछ, अपने आप हो रहा है, कौन कर रहा है, माँ कर रही है. The mother is doing all of that, but the child doesn't know. Similarly, one who remembers Krishna and one who is in Turiya state, his bodily needs are already taken care. He doesn't have to actually think about anything. So now if you look at let me bring up this shloka so you can understand what I'm saying. So this is, I think, 8th and 9th shloka, 5th chapter. Puran, you have got it open? You can read it. You can read the translation if you have got it open. 8th and 9th, 5th chapter.
Yeah. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them.
Yes. So you can see the line. While he's doing all these things, he's actually not doing anything, because while doing all these things, the material senses are engaged with objects and that he's aloof from them. Right? What it means is very, very deep. The Atma, soul, is only desiring and it is giving energy to the body. All the other actions are taken care of the body. So I have a desire to eat gulab jamun. The body actually, my eyes go to gulab jamun. My mind says, okay, I want to eat gulab jamun. My hands go there and I eat and the body eats. इसमें आत्मा ने कुछ किया ही. Atma just desired. It just desired that I want to do something. That's it. Right? This is what Prabhupada and the purport and Krishna is trying to say. That actually you as a person are not doing anything at all. The sense objects are interacting with the senses, and that's how all these actions are happening. The Atma is aloof. Aloof means there's no involvement at all. Atma kuch nahi kar raha hai. Atma is just giving energy, like a battery in a particular robot or a particular electronic object. It is just providing energy. It is not doing anything. It is just providing energy. All the other electronic parts are actually moving it. Robot hil raha hai, or a toy is moving. That's because of the other electronic part. The battery is not doing anything. Similarly, the soul is only a battery. Everything else in the body is the mechanical part, which is being energized by the soul. That's how we have to understand this. Now, what do we understand is? What we understand is we actually are not doing anything. We are here because of a desire. And that's what Krishna is trying to say. You are not the doer. Right? Now you might say, hey, if you are not the doer, then why are we getting all the reactions? That's because you desired. Let's say if I desire to kill somebody and I ask some gundas to go and kill somebody. If the police catch the gunda, is the police going to say कि, the police is going to ask the gundas, किसने बोला तुमको मारने के लिए? आनंद ने बोला मेरे को मारने के लिए. So are the police going to say, नहीं ठीक है, आनंद ने सिर्फ बोला होगा, but किया तुमने है ना, तो तुमको सजा मिलेगी. आनंद को कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. नहीं. I have desired, I have told those gundas to kill somebody, so the police is obviously going to capture me. In fact, I'll get bigger punishment than those gundas. Similarly, I am desiring to enjoy. Krishna is approving in the heart. Upadashta Anumanta cha Partha Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmeti Chapyukta is basically approving or rejecting whatever we desire. And by that doing, our actions are fulfilled. Material nature in the form of three modes are actually doing all these things. And hum log kar rahe hain. That is what Krishna is trying to say here. Right? Then next 5.10, Krishna is saying that so one person who is actually in this state, which state? where he's doing for Krishna and he's not actually accepting any results, right? He's detached and he doesn't get any reactions. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotiya lipyati sana papena padma patra mivambasa. A person who is in this state which we discussed, he's working for Krishna and he's not attached to the results. He's like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. Now, what is the specialty of a drop of water on a lotus leaf? It doesn't stay there for long. Why? Because there is wax coating on the leaf. So the water doesn't stay there. Similarly, Krishna is saying that person who is totally channelizing all the work and results to me, he doesn't get any reactions. Usko koi reaction nahi milta hai. Right? When we think of Krishna, all the reactions are gone. Like the water drop on the Padma Patra. Right? Like that. Similarly, if you remember Krishna, सारे हमारे जो पाप है सब मिट जाते हैं. सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं तं सर्व पापेभ्यो मोक्षाय शमास्मि. Like that. Now let's go to the next. कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियारपि योगिना कर्म कुर्वन्ति संगम त्यक्त्वा शुद्धया. So here, why are we doing these things? So that we get purified. When we are acting in Nishkam Karma Yoga, we are doing so that we get purified. And by purification, when we'll achieve a state of Turiya, and in that state, we can remain fully Krishna conscious, where there is no, there is no distress at all. There is no sorrow because you are already in the liberated state, right? Like here, you can see the word Kayana Manasa Buddha Kevalerindrapi Yogina Karma Karmanti Sangam Takta Shuddhaye. Shuddhaye means purification. So for example, you know, if something is cooked in pure ghee, it is the best food, right? If you go and buy something in the market, you want the purest thing, like milk or cream, right? Similarly, we are working in Nishkam Karma Yoga just for purification, for getting purified and being a purified person, right? That's how. Okay. Then 5.12. A karma yogi attains unadulterated peace, shantim apnodi neshtikam. Right? By working in Nishkam Karma Yoga, this person is actually able to attain an unadulterated peace. Now, what do you mean by unadulterated? Unadulterated मतलब उसमें कोई भी tinge नहीं है. कभी-कभी हमें लगता है, हाँ शांति मिल गई. But then it is only very क्षण भंगुर जो बोलते हैं ना मराठी में. It's very very minimal time, 1 or 2 or 5 seconds or whatever it is, you know. After that again some misery start. Sometimes you will, हाँ अभी प्रोजेक्ट का काम थोड़ा कम हो गया, जरा शांति है. As soon as you think, the next day you will get, bulk of work. ले लो भाई, कर लो, right? Like that. So now in the next section, Krishna is going to talk about how we are not the doer. Although we are doing things, we are not the doer, and we'll learn this by reciting a story. But that's a big story, and through the story you will have to guess who those characters are in the story. Who are they? What are they doing? What do they signify in our life? So we'll probably narrate them next time because it's already 8:53. So if there are any questions, we can take them now. So next section is going to talk about the three doers. Who are the three doers? Similar to 18.14. If you look at chapter 18:14 sloka, that also talks about 5 doers. But this chapter is going to talk about 3 doers. That will be discussed a little further. So the reason Krishna is talking about Nishkam Karma Yoga and these doers is basically Krishna is saying, now that you understand Nishkam Karma, now that you understand transcendental knowledge, become an observer. Become an observer. Observer means, oh, what's happening here, right? Oh, there are so many, bad thoughts coming in my mind. Why is it coming? Oh, it's because of my mind getting distracted by material things. Oh, why there are so many crimes? You are becoming an observer now. You understand all these things. And when you act something, you are thinking, actually, I did not do that. It's my mind and my body which has done it. Or I want something, I desire something. I want to watch a movie. I want to enjoy. I want to drink liquor. It's not the soul which is asking. The desire there to enjoy is there, but the material body and the senses are asking it. So you actually tend to set yourself aloof from the body gradually by being an observer. By being an observer, you can look at how the mind is behaving, how the intelligence is behaving, how the senses are behaving. That's how you can go deeper and deeper and make yourself an observer. Right? Like people in professional life are successful who are able to abstract themselves to a high level and see what things are happening. For example, if you're going in a jungle and it's about a ghana jungle, it's so dense that you can hardly see anything in the next 10 meters. Now you are not able to figure out what's happening in the jungle. But if you take a helicopter and go on the top and you see the jungle, you are able to see where is the route, where are the animals, where is the lake, where is what. You are able to see that. That's called a helicopter view. Right? So in Turiya state, or when you try to achieve Turiya state, you are actually in a helicopter view. You are seeing, oh, my body is troubling me. Well, just a body. Oh, who cares? Oh, I'm getting this bad desires. Yeah, these are coming from a past life. Don't worry about it. Right? My mind is saying, go and watch a movie. That's the trouble with the mind. Just ignore it. That is called a helicopter view. So when you are in a helicopter view, you can understand how life is going. Otherwise, when you are down below in the jungle, you think, "Arey, kya ho gaya? Corona ho gaya. Corona, corona, corona." Otherwise, there is some other tsunami. Oh, tsunami aa gaya, tsunami aa gaya, tsunami. You are basically like in the herd. You're not realizing what's in the top. The most important thing is to chant Hare Krishna and remember Krishna. Everything else is coming and going. That is the helicopter view, like that. So that is what you attain by being in Turiya state. Otherwise, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to lead a life where you are just following what's happening in the life, and you're not realizing kya ho raha hai. Like that. Okay, any questions?
Very excited about helicopter view, really.
Yeah, you'll soon
Want
get
to be there as soon as possible.
Yes. Yes, moving from bhokta bhav to drashta bhav. That's correct.
Yes.
So yeah, we will be there. I think we just have to increase our intensity, and yeah, we'll soon be there. Turiya has already got the name, so she is very close.
Yes. Now we know the real. I mean, it is so deep name. I mean, the meaning of her name is so deep. Yeah.
It's also called a sannyasa, not sannyas, samadhi. Turiya and samadhi are the same words. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts?
So Anand, I have one question. So in some sections of Bhagavad Gita, while reading it, like we tend to get the feeling that same thing is being told again and again. Like 10 after 10 shlokas, 15 shlokas. Then I sometimes wonder that, so what is wrong with me? Because definitely not the same thing is being told in those 20 or 30 shlokas.
Yes.
So how to rectify this thing?
By reading again and again. The first time I read Bhagavad Gita, I didn't understand anything. Second time I read, I was thinking, why is Prabhupada writing the same purport again and again? He's saying Krishna consciousness, do bhakti, do bhakti. Why is he repeating this? Then I read, then I heard lectures, I chanted, and then gradually things start, falling in place. Right? So there is a book, like I'll send it over by email or WhatsApp. This BG Notes is by one of the devotees in Brahmacharis. So it talks about the flow. It talks about why, and that's why I asked this question a few weeks back. What is the difference between chapter 3 and chapter 5? And I was scratching my head for a long number of days. Kya chal kar raha hai? Why is Krishna repeating? हम लोग इतना भी बुद्धू नहीं है. This is what I was thinking. And then after a lot of research, I went through multiple books, commentaries. That's when I got a link. That actually he is explaining it in more detail. And this is the karma section. That's why he's repeating many things. Like if you look at the soul section in second chapter, 20-30 shlokas are only about soul. He's talking same again and again and again. Nainam chindate shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka. And again he's saying कि soul को कोई नहीं मार सकता है, soul को कोई भुगो नहीं सकता, ये नहीं कर सकता, वो नहीं कर सकता. Because he's trying to cover all the grounds And he knows Kali Yuga people have short memory. एक बार बोलेंगे तो समझ नहीं आएगा, बार-बार बोलना पड़ता है. That's also is there. So there are some shlokas which are repeated. Like there is one shloka which is called as Manmana Bhavad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru. It appears in 18th chapter and in 9th chapter as well. And both are same, only the last line changes. But the meaning is the same. Why is Krishna repeating? Because Kali Yuga people are, and that is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. There are multiple essences. One of the essences is Manmana Bhavad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru. You just worship me, remember me, that's all. And then the another essence is Sarva Dharman Paritej. Surrender everything to me. So Krishna does repeat at times, but it is not repetition like what we repeat. कि एक ही वही चीज बार-बार बोल रहे हैं. No, he is trying to cover all grounds. Like in this chapter, you can see, he's now trying to come to the point of, now this doer mentality was not talked about in third chapter. Third chapter did not speak about you are not the doer. Although Krishna spoke in 3.27, Prakriti Krimanane Gune Karmani, he only spoke about that. He says, oh, person who is in Ahankar, he's thinking I am doing this. But now here is clearly talking about it. Who are the three doers? Who are you? Krishna didn't speak about 24 elements in third chapter. Krishna didn't speak about the 4 states we talked about. He only spoke about karma karte raho. Karma kand aur karma kya farak hai. Now he's talking about that. So basically you can see now he's going in detail, deeper and deeper and deeper. And he's talking about the 3 doers. Abhi next section mein aayega. There are 3 doers. That is how it is. So हमें लगता है पहले because we don't have so much deeper knowledge, इसलिए हमें लगता है कि वही चीज बता रहे हैं वापस. But when you start going deeper and deeper and deeper, you will realize that no, Krishna is actually, and Krishna, like this I heard in one of the lectures. So he's going systematically. Actually, we don't realize this. Krishna gave an overview of in second chapter. Then he spoke about Karma Yoga in very, very brief, because he was transitioning from summary to one chapter. Then he realized that transcendental knowledge is required, and transcendental knowledge leads to a purified state. So he spoke about transcendental knowledge because that is required for performing karma. Otherwise, karma is also done by karmis. They don't have any knowledge about Krishna. Right? Krishna spoke about janma karmacha me divyam evam vivachitatvata. If you understand my birth and activities, you will realize me. You will come back to me. So that knowledge nobody knows, but they still perform karma. But that was not realized in third chapter. So he spoke about that in fourth chapter. And he also spoke about many, many things. I reciprocate the way people deal with me. So that is a different chapter. It's giving the transcendental knowledge, which is required for performing karma. And now that you know what is karma, now that what you know that is transcendental knowledge, now he is talking become an observer. Abhi observer bano. तुम कर्म कर रहे हो, but अभी observer बनो कि क्या चल रहा है तुम्हारे आसपास. Why am I doing what am I doing? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है लाइफ में मेरे? That is the 5th chapter. Although we might think कि नहीं, अरे वापस अर्जुन वही पूछ रहा है कि तुम should I renounce it or should I work? क्या चल रहा है कृष्णा? बार-बार वही बता रहे हो. No, he's going deeper and deeper. And then suddenly after 5th chapter he changes tack. He goes to Jnana Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga. 6th chapter is all Ashtanga Yoga. Right? Like that. So he's going systematically, because then now what is happening is 5th chapter you are an observer. You are observing कि क्या चल रहा है मेरे जीवन में. Right? And then in 6th chapter he is saying go deeper. You meditate on the mind. Meditate using the mind on the Paramatma. Now he's going deeper. अब तक क्या कर्म योग किया सिर्फ. अब तक क्या बोला कि हाँ मैं कर्म कर रहा हूँ, भगवान को अर्पण कर रहा हूँ. But in 5th chapter you are actually observing कि क्या हो रहा है, क्यों गड़बड़ हो रहा है, या जो भी हो रहा है. You are actually observing all these things. 6th chapter is saying go deeper. Go deeper means you meditate. And then from there he jumps to Bhakti Yoga. Like that. So that's the sequence. Clear?
Yes. Thank you.
Sorry,
it was a long-winded answer, but yeah, I think it's quite a bit.
Yes, it is so deep. I mean, that question, it didn't even occur to me. Whatever Punandan asks, I understand it. I just hear the words. I understand it 1 or 2 years after that. Whatever he used to tell me 6 years ago, 7 years ago, now the realizations are happening. Oh my God, this person is so ahead. When I'll reach there.
You'll reach there, don't worry. By chanting and by bhakti, you get the knowledge. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatyashu Vairagam Jnanam Cha Yadahetikam. Krishna is saying by performing bhakti, you will get jnana also and renunciation also. And both are required. So you'll get there. Okay, any other thoughts before you close? Hari bol Swara. Hari bol. बाबाजवळ बसली तू
जे जे करून
Okay, chalo. Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend. I'll talk to you next week.